the family told my friend at Procter & Gamble, oh, you got to come here and you got to run this business. His attitude was, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Took his business from $38,000 a month to $164,000 a month. Sorry, got another call. Hello? Hi, Felix. Yeah, Felix, I'm on a conference call.
Okay.
I said, are you going to get back in the optical business? Well, I thought that this while you wait idea might be interesting. And we opened a store in Louisiana. Today, it's the second largest optical chain in America. And within a matter of days, we had the #1 optical store in all of America. You help me. So I started in Ohio. Yes, Lenscrafters.
And how did this name came to your mind?
Well, I'll tell you how the name came to my mind. That was difficult. So I'm the guy who really pushed them into opening a lot of physical stores. Over half the calls, more than half, thought we were a dating service, a service to find girls. 1-800-CONTACT. And then we did more countries and more countries all over the world. That was Vision Express. The only places we did not use the name.
Okay.
But I started my career working at Procter & Gamble.
Okay.
In marketing. Just the traditional brand management type of work at Procter & Gamble.
Okay.
And I had a friend at Procter & Gamble whose wife's family were in optical retailing in Louisiana, in a relatively small area called Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And the father-in-law passed away. And everybody in the family worked in this family business. And it was, oh no, what are we going to do now? And all that. So the family told my friend at Procter & Gamble, oh, you got to come here and you got to run this business. His attitude was, oh no, I don't want to do that. But family pressures being what they are, what they can be in this world, he quit his good job at Procter & Gamble, went to Louisiana to run this optical business with 3 little stores. And a number of months later, I happened to be in Louisiana, so I went to see him. And I said, how's it going? Oh, I should have never done this. This is terrible. And why is it terrible? And he said, well, it's, just a small business. And I started using marketing kind of thinking. And I said, well, you got to do some marketing. He wasn't doing any marketing. And he said, well, I was in sales at Procter & Gamble. You were in marketing. I don't know how to do marketing. You tell me how to do the marketing.
Okay.
So I said, okay. I said, I can help you with some marketing. And we did some TV commercials. And we took his business from $38,000 a month to $164,000 a month. Just a second. Sorry, got another call. Hello? Hi, Felix. Yeah, Felix, I'm on a conference call. Have you got? See, this is what my life is like. That I had a call from Japan, and now I have a call from Germany.
Oh,
So I did some television commercials for this guy, and just used some local people in Louisiana, so it was very inexpensive.
okay.
And we took his business from $38,000 a month to $164,000 a month. And the reaction was, whoa, how did we do that? And what we found was that marketing works. Now, what do I mean when I say marketing works? What I'm going to tell you now can apply to any private optometrist anywhere in the world. And what you have to do is say something that is provocative and substantive to consumers. And it's not really much more difficult than that, other than if you say something provocative and substantive where they listen to you, then you have to give them what I call permission to believe you can do it.
Okay.
So what we did that because I knew how to do it from Procter & Gamble, and we had a big success. And the success was so big that he sold the business to some people who wanted to buy it, and he was really happy to get out of it. But in the meantime, I had said, how do you make eyeglasses? Answer, I don't know. The wholesaler, the lab makes them. So he said, if you're really interested, he said, I have to go there. This is, of course, when I was in Louisiana one day. He said, if you're really interested, I have to go there today. And if you can stay around for a few hours, I'll take you there, and they'll show you how to make eyeglasses. So when we left, I said, I don't understand why people have to wait 2 weeks for a pair of eyeglasses when these guys can make them in 30 minutes. I said, why don't you do this in the store? No, you couldn't do that. It's too expensive. You have to buy the equipment, and and then you have to find people who know how to run the equipment. That won't work. Then he sold the business, and that was the end of it. Then a couple of weeks later, I get a phone call. And he says, Dean, I've got Fred on the line. Fred's my architect.
Okay.
I said, are you going to get back in the optical business? Well, I thought that this while you wait idea might be interesting. I want to build a while you wait store. So I started doing the marketing for him on the side, and we changed from while you wait because how long is while you wait? Is it 5 minutes or 3 hours? We don't know. I said, let's make 1 hour service. And then we changed 1 hour to glasses in about an hour. So we would have a little more flexibility. And we opened a store in Louisiana. Today it's the second largest optical chain in America, called Vision Works.
Vision Works. Okay.
Yeah, it just worked like unbelievable. So that business was working so well with the marketing that I was doing for him, television marketing, that I eventually left Procter & Gamble and started my own. And he said, I only want 2 states of the 50 American states. I only want Texas and Louisiana. You can have all the others. And he says, I'll help you. You help me. And within a matter of days, we had the #1 optical store in all of America. You help me. So I started in Ohio. Glasses in about an hour. And the way we made it work was to say something substantive and provocative and to give people permission to believe we could do it. So we used testimonial advertising. We started out saying, did you just wait for your last pair of glasses? Never again. Now you can have glasses in about an hour. At Lenscrafters, we make the lenses right here in the store. And then we had real people saying, they really did. They made my glasses in an hour. I had a cup of coffee. Came back, my glasses are ready. Can you believe it?
Okay.
And then at the end, we showed me standing in the lab in the store, which was in the window.
Okay.
Because glasses all look the same when you step back a couple meters, right? So we put the lab in the window. And what I said then at the end of the commercial was the key. It's the permission to believe we can do it. I said, come watch us make your glasses in about an hour. And people did. We used to have crowds standing in front of the window watching, and everybody in the lab wore a white lab jacket, you know. And I used to listen to what customers were saying, and they were saying, wow, look at all the doctors in there. They thought they were all doctors. And it worked. And, you know, within 4 years, we had the largest optical business in the world.
So this first store which you opened in Ohio, it was by the name of Lenscrafters only.
Lenscrafters. Yes, Lenscrafters.
And how did this name came to your mind?
Well, I'll tell you how the name came to my mind. That was difficult. It was difficult because I knew from my Procter & Gamble experience that we needed a name that didn't sound like anybody else's.
Okay.
Everybody else has a name like Dean's Optical.
Right.
Or the Eyeglass Shop. Or the Vision Center. Or something like that, right?
Right.
I said we have to have something that's clearly different. One of the interesting things I learned at Procter & Gamble is when you start a new brand name, nobody can remember it. It's very difficult. So what you do is you use whatever name you came up with, but the key is to make it a findable location. So we would say things like, across the street from McDonald's. Everybody McDonald's was, of course. And people couldn't remember our name. They couldn't remember Lenscrafters in the early days, but they said, there's this place across from McDonald's. And that worked. That was another secret to our success. Every city we went to, we said across from something or at something or near something. If you say 54 South Main Street, where's that? Even local people don't know where is 54 South Main Street. They don't know it that way. But they know what's across from McDonald's, or they know what's next to the theater. So that's what we did. You notice that I didn't ever talk about price.
Okay.
I have never had a business that talked about price. If you start talking about price, like so many people do, everybody gets into a rush to the bottom, and you kill your own profitability. We've always run promotions that did not talk about price. Now, they did talk about value, which is different from price.
Of selling it to Luxottica?
No, this is before Luxottica. What happened was there was a company in America, it still exists, called the United States Shoe Corporation.
United States
That's their formal name.
United
States Shoe Corporation.
Shoe Corporation. Okay.
Yeah, people call them U.S. Shoe.
Okay.
But the formal name is United States Shoe Corporation. They had, on average, about 12 different stores in every American shopping center.
Okay.
They sold shoes, they sold clothing, they sold all kinds of things. And they were based in Cincinnati, where I was.
Okay.
And the guy who was the CEO contacted me, and he said, "You have a black box. It's magic what you're doing." He said, "We want to make a deal. We want to buy the business and expand it nationwide." Well, it costs a lot of money to open a store, and at that time we only had 3 stores. So we made a deal with this guy, and we sold the business to the U.S. Shoe Corporation, and I stayed on with a formula that earned me money based on profitability. And at the end of the time of my contract, I left to go do the same thing somewhere else. And I had to go somewhere else because I had a non-compete in North America. So that's why I went to the United Kingdom and Australia.
Oh,
But in the meantime, U.S. Shoe owned the business, and eventually they sold to Luxottica. After I was gone, Luxottica came along and bought that business, and Leonardo Del Vecchio's son took over. Claudio Del Vecchio took over the clothing businesses as a separate family business. But it worked. It worked really well for me, and I learned a lot about retailing. I learned what kind of locations to go into. I learned how to market to the consumers. And again, keeping in mind that it was just like my days at Procter & Gamble. I was marketing products in which there was no inherent interest. People don't get excited about eyeglasses. And if you're an optometrist or an optician and you think you've got exciting products, forget it. It's not the way it works. It's not exciting stuff. In England, they have an interesting term that applies to eyeglasses. They call it a grudge purchase. I can't see without them, so I have to spend money on them. That's what happened. I then went to the United Kingdom, went to Australia. Those were easy because they were English language places, and they had North American type shopping centers. So we could do more or less the same thing over again, and did not use the name Vision Express or where the name didn't mean anything. Italy was one of those. Vision Express just doesn't mean anything in Italian. So we called the Italian business Prima Visione, first vision. And in Russia, I started what is the largest optical retail business in Russia even. And that we called Lensmeister. That means the lens masters, or the masters of lenses. Because again, Vision Express didn't mean much of anything in the Russian language. And I also...
And this company was owned by who at that point?
Well, at that point, we had different people owning different businesses. In the earliest days, we had people in the industry owning parts of our business. For instance, Vision Express was originally largely owned by Cephalo.
Okay.
Really, the family, the Tabaki family. They've been a supplier to us in America. They liked what we were doing, and they were very supportive of us. Cephalo itself, back in those days, was bigger than Luxottica, if you can believe that. One by one, these businesses got sold to people like Vision Express got sold first to a French company that was in the 1-hour photo service business. Are you old enough to remember 1-hour photo developing? it used to be a really interesting business. People would take their film from their camera to a place that did 1 hour photo developing. And that company was called Group Photo Service in French,
Okay.
the photo service group. And they thought, oh, 1 hour eyeglasses is a lot like 1 hour photo service. And then we did more countries and more countries all over the world. That was Vision Express, the only places we did not use the name. So they bought the business, and I stayed on their board for a while. And then the 1 hour photo service died, because smartphones came along and all that. And that was the end of that. So they wound up changing the name of Group Photo Service to Grand Vision.
Oh,
So Grand
okay.
Vision was eventually bought by Luxottica.
Okay, okay. Interesting. I didn't knew this story before today.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the story. And since then, I've served on various boards and directors, including Lenskart,
Okay.
where I was on the board for I think 3 years. And by the
Okay.
way, I went to India every month for about 10 days, helping
Oh,
them get launched. I'm the guy who said to Piyush and Amit, this online thing isn't going to last for long, because I knew that online sales of eyeglasses works for a small number of people, but not a large number of people.
right.
And they did have a couple of stores in those days, but they
Okay.
thought online was the future, and I kept telling them, no, it's not going to be the future. And of course, I was right. I had the experience to know it was going to be right. So I'm the guy who really pushed them into opening a lot of physical stores. And I'm also the guy who tried to really orient them to really good customer service. Amit, in particular, really understood that. And what I used to say was very simple. Our job in the shops is to create enthusiastically satisfied customers all the time. That's it. Create
Correct.
enthusiastically satisfied customers all the time. No matter what kind of silly complaint they have, do something to make them happy.
Right. So you also worked in companies like Adlens, then 1800 contacts.
Call it 1-800 contacts.
Yeah, 1-800 contact.
1-800 is a telephone number that predates the internet. So
Correct.
1-800 in America is a free phone call.
Okay.
Americans just call them 800 numbers or
Okay.
1-800 numbers. And so that business was based on a free phone call. And we had a
Okay.
big call center. I was on that board for 11 years. By the way, I'll tell you a funny story that your viewers might enjoy. You know what one of our biggest problems was at 1-800 contacts? Over half the calls, more than half, thought we were a dating service, a service to find girls. 1-800 contact.
Okay. Okay. Because it says 1-800 contacts. So they must be thinking that you would be getting contacts of some
Of
girls.
girls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's okay. Great. So
Yeah,
I
I've
think
been involved.
yeah. So they were selling only contact lenses, no? Correct? If I'm not wrong.
That's correct. Only contact lenses.
Okay. Okay.
Today, 1-800-CONTACTS is the largest seller of contact lenses in the world.
Oh,
It's
okay.
huge.
So they have businesses only in US with this website, or they do it, I think, now to European countries also.
Well, they'll ship anywhere, but they
Okay.
only market to the US market and the Canadian market.
Okay.
But
Great.
if you, I mean, it's just like Lenskart. If you go on the Lenskart website in England, they'll ship you a pair of glasses.
And what is this Adlens? I think they do something unique stuff.
Yeah, Adlens is an interesting product. It's a liquid-filled lens which
Yeah.
has an adjuster on the side that changes the pressure of the liquid in the lens and changes the focal length. So
Okay.
you wind up being able to adjust the power of those glasses over a few diopters. They are very good for people like diabetics whose vision drifts during the day. They're very good for post-operative situations where somebody had eye surgery and their vision is changing for several weeks while the eye heals. It's not a big business, but it's an interesting business. The product actually works. It looks a little bit clunky, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's not the kind of thing most people want to walk around the street in, but it works.
Okay. So so it's more like it's a kind of a medical product which is not commercially much acceptable, I would guess.
That's right. They do have some versions that look almost like normal glasses,
Okay.
but of course the lens is relatively thick, relatively heavy, so
Okay.
it's not a nice, lightweight, thin pair of glasses.
Okay. Okay.
I'm also involved in a lot of other products. The one that I would love to bring to India, there is one that I think is a huge opportunity for India, especially in places like Chennai and places where there's lots of people sitting in front of computers.
Right. Right.
It's a product that's currently sold only in America and Canada called Neurolens, and you can look up neurolens.com
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
internet.
I saw it, but I'm not sure that what exactly it does.
Well, I'll tell you what it does, but let me back up and give you a little bit of information. You know that when you look at something close, like reading a book or looking at your computer screen, that your eyes have to converge. They have to turn in. If your
Yeah.
eyes don't converge, you would see double.
Right.
So your brain makes your eyes turn in so that you don't see double.
Right.
About 60% of people have headaches, neck aches, and that arise from this. Neck aches, you say? How can that have anything to do with your eyes? Well, the nerves that go to your brain from your eyes go through your neck and into the back of your head. And people actually get neck aches, and they think it's their posture. They think it's the way they're sitting. And it's not. It's they're spending too much time sitting in front of a computer, and their nerves don't like it. The brain doesn't like it. This was discovered back even before World War II. And there was an optometrist in the UK who figured all this out. He wrote a book about it. And you know what he said in his book? He said, God did not make us sit at a desk and do paperwork. Now it's God did not make us sit at a desk and look at a computer screen. So when your eyes turn in, you wind up frequently with this neck pain, headaches, and so forth. Now, what is Neurolens? Neurolens is a lens that has prism in it, but not in the whole lens.
Okay.
It's got prism in a curve. It's contoured. So there is no prism for distance, and you get more and more and more as you look down through the lens. And it works for progressive lenses and single vision lenses too.
Okay.
As you look down, you get more and more prism. The prism keeps your eyes from having to converge so much.
Okay.
And we can measure this, and you can wind up reducing the convergence to where you don't get headaches or neck pain. And it actually works. It's really kind of miraculous stuff. And this is something that I gotta believe would be a fabulous product in
So
Mumbai, places like that.
so is this commercially available in US, or still it is more like waiting for patent?
I'm on the board of directors at Neurolens. We have a little over 1,000 outlets in the United States to sell the product.
Okay.
It's not being sold anywhere, and Canada. We don't have any. We're not selling it anywhere else.
I feel that there are a lot of Luxottica stores in specifically US and then in Europe also. So how does an independent optician is able to compete in this kind of an competition where Luxottica has definitely 3 or 4 times larger stock within their stores, while an individual optician can't afford to have such a big stock for I would say branded stuff. And also seeing Lenskart, and there would be other players like Bobby Parker and all these guys play on private labels. Do you think building up a brand around private labels for an independent optician is really tough, or that's the future? If you want to get margins, you want to earn profits, that's the only way moving ahead.
Okay, that's a very intelligent question. It's a very important question. And the answer will surprise people.
Okay.
You do not need most brands. You don't need them. The only brand, in my experience, that is needed anywhere in the world is Ray-Ban. You don't need Armani. You don't need any of that stuff. Now, we mostly did private label in my businesses, but we had Luxottica products. But the value to both us and the consumer is way better with private label. And if you've got good people working in your shop, and I got to tell you, the best salespeople in the whole world are in India. You know, you go to America, England, or you go to Australia, optometrists couldn't sell anything. Indians tend to have much more sales ability than people in most parts of the world. And that's a big advantage. So this is even more reason that Indian optometrists don't need all the fancy brands. True top quality products, really good products, for a tiny fraction of what you'd pay to Luxottica. Remember what Luxottica's real business is today. It's the entire vertical everything in optical, making the frames, the lenses, the labs, and the retailing. They would hugely prefer to sell through their own stores because then they get all the margins, all the markups. And what they pay themselves for a frame is a tiny fraction of what a private optometrist pays for it, as you would know.
Of course, of course.
If your margin on a pair of glasses is lower than about 78 to 80%, something's wrong.
Correct.
In other words, if you sell something for 10,000 rupees, it should cost you 20 to 22% of that money.
Yeah. Right.
And I'll tell you another secret. at least in the West. Maybe it's not as important in India. Hopefully, you will be busy enough to employ a salesperson, so the optometrist can spend most of the time doing eye exams. Hire somebody who has never been in optics. Don't hire a dispensing optician. Hire a really, really good salesperson. I have a saying that is absolutely correct. There's no way I'm wrong. The saying is that you can teach optics to a great salesperson, but you can't teach sales to a great optician. They don't learn it. India is probably a bit of an exception.
So, what do you think? Because now Lenskart is something like globally everyone knows about them. So, what do you think that is the main reason for the success of Lenskart? So, what do you think that what is two or three things which made them such big?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is Lenskart profitable?
No, no. Neither they
No,
aim
they're
to.
not.
Yeah, they are not.
They're not profitable. They're having trouble in Dubai. They're not at all profitable in Dubai.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
sure of that.
so the
I
reason not
think
being profitable in Dubai is because they are selling it at very less price and the operational expenses are more. That's the reason.
in Dubai, they're in the wrong shopping centers. They've gone to the shopping centers where the Filipino laborers go.
Oh,
They
okay.
should have gone to the shopping centers that the wealthy Dubai people go to.
Oh, okay.
In Singapore, they're doing better. Singapore, I understand they're doing pretty well. I think they have about 30 or 31 stores in Singapore.
Okay.
Um, but and then you got to keep in mind that they own the controlling interest in Own Days,
Right,
but that's a
right,
franchise operation. And when you report the financials of a franchise operation, you report what's called system-wide sales. But then you have to deduct what's not yours.
right.
And see, most of the vast majority of the system-wide sales of Own Days is not money that goes into the Lenskart pockets.
Okay,
They just get the franchise fees, and they
okay.
only own 75% of the business. Now, I enjoyed the time I worked uh, for Lenskart. I tried very, very hard to help them, but where my thinking was different from theirs is I wanted to build a profitable business.
Okay, okay.
Whereas in India, there is so much investment money, more than any other place in the world. They got all these dedicated funds of venture capital and private equity aimed at the Indian market. There
Right.
is so much money looking for a home that you can raise loads of money in India without being profitable. If
Okay.
Lenskart was in America, they would not be in business because you
Oh,
have to be profitable in North America. In fact, they withdrew from the North American market.
okay.
Right?
Okay.
To me, Lenskart is still a massive opportunity. I would love to own Lenskart, but I would change the way the marketing is done. I would change the relationships with the franchisees. And I think that if I was running the marketing at Lenskart, I could double their revenue.
Okay.
And I really believe you could double their sales and make that business profitable. But in India, you don't need to do that
Yeah.
because the investors don't want to lose money. But the investors are not as concerned about profitability as they are in most of the rest of the world.
Okay.
The nice thing
Great.
about India, is with 1.4 billion people, it's hard to do anything really wrong.
Right. Right.
It's such a huge market.
The last one I would say. So I saw your recent interview on YouTube. You work with some European company which sends leads for optometrists for the
Yes,
consumers. So what is
yes.
exactly that?
In fact, I'm chairman of that company,
Oh,
and that's the guy who phoned a little while ago from Germany.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
that's a very interesting business, and I think is the next. It's the next way to sell eyeglasses. It's the future.
Okay.
What it is tiny little stores with only one employee in the store, just one.
Okay.
Lots of eyeglass frames on display, but it's basically self-service.
Okay.
You go to a little booth, and there's a phoropter in there to do the refraction. It's remotely operated by a proper optometrist who's not in
Okay.
the shop, and you can see each other in real time on screen, and you get the refraction very easily in real time. Then
Okay.
you go pick frames, and the frames have tags on them, and you can scan it on a screen and look on the
Okay.
screen. It tells you what lenses are going to look like. It tells you everything you want to know. You can do it all by yourself. And my reaction when I first saw this is people aren't going to like this because they want the personal help. I
Mhm.
was wrong. People love this. They think it's really great. And there's still somebody in the shop to
Okay.
help if you need help. The name of the business is called SuperVista, but it doesn't operate under that name. So it's a little bit confusing. In Germany, the business is called Brillen, which is the German word for glasses,
Okay.
.de. In
Okay.
Spain, it's called Afgas, which is glasses,
Okay.
.es, and so forth. And what the business does is it recruits customers online, books an appointment for them to go to these little shops, which are really basically showrooms,
Okay.
where they complete the sale. So it gets rid of one of the problems of online selling of eyeglasses. One of the problems of online selling is people are hesitant to buy something they haven't tried on.
Okay.
So now you can try it on, you can get face-to-face help and so forth. So we generate the business through social media, book
Okay.
people go into the store at certain times and so forth, and then the glasses are delivered in that little shop. We have about 1,700 of these in Europe. Most
Oh,
people don't know it. Oh yeah, it's bigger than people think, but it's under all different names in each country.
okay.
I think it's an important way for the future. In fact, it may well work in India. I've got two more that we haven't even talked about that we don't have time for right now, but two more optical
Which one?
businesses where I'm
Which
on
one?
the board of
If
directors.
you can just tell the company name.
One is IOTO, EYOTO.
Okay.
IOTO. We're making a remotely operated split lamp, and we're making state-of-the-art lens inspection equipment for factories.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, the other business is called OcuDoc, OCUDOC, the big O and a big D,
Okay.
OcuDoc. And that one is really magic. It's not in the marketplace yet. But as an optometrist, you're going to say, huh? How can you do that? You know what this product does? It's a
What?
smartphone app. It's a smartphone app.
Okay.
You look into the camera of your phone, and in less than 1 second, it gives you your prescription.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Okay.
absolutely accurate. It's as accurate as a Grand Seiko autorefractor. Now,
Okay.
in the West, we got to be very careful with it because people will say, "Oh, you're trying to take my business away from me," the
Right, right.
optometrist. So the way we're selling it or going to sell it, it's not in the market yet. The way we're going to sell it in the West is as an over refraction device that an optometrist can give to his patients. So you tell them that every once in a while, just do this. And the result goes into the cloud. The
Okay.
customer doesn't see it. It goes into the cloud, and the optometrist will say, "Your current glasses aren't working as well as they should. Come and see me."
Okay. Okay. Got it. And then we do a separate session for all these three, four brands which you have mentioned, along with your team. Maybe someone from that company also wants to join in. It would be great.
Yeah, I can do that easily. Thank you very much. Thank you for this
And
opportunity. This kind of thing is fun for me, so I'm happy to do it.
thanks, Dean. Thanks. Okay. Bye.
All right.
Bye.